Yup, this is my new addiction. What's up, people? My name's Flying Toad, and if you've watched my RimWorld video, you know that I have a strong addiction to management games. The sense of control that they give you, and the ability to see your colony go from nothing to the strongest group of people that can't be stopped by literally anything, just tickles me in a way nothing else can. So it was obvious that the next step on my journey to become the world's greatest autist was factory games. This is where all good autists spend their time. So I picked up Hydrair, and you want to know what I thought of it? I hated it. In fact, I despised it. This game sucked. It was so grindy for no reason. And I'm not talking about the good kind of grind where you're actively working towards a goal. I'm talking about AFKing in the cup chair corner, waiting around 2 hours to get enough iron to get another drill to expand your factory. Yeah, no, fuck that. This game fundamentally fails as a factory game. Progression is slow and boring, mechanics are janky and barely work sometimes, and for some reason the devs thought it'd be a good idea to separate the factory building parts, like the essential parts of the game, on other sides of the map. Why'd they think this was a good idea? This shit fucking sucks. It felt less like I was building a factory and more like I was playing cookie clicker, just endlessly waiting to have enough resources to barely advance in the game. Despite this atrocious start to my factory game journey, I kept going, and that's when my friend recommended me Satisfactory. Now, this game was on the pricier side, but the friend that recommended me this is the same friend that recommended me Risk of Rain 2, Deep Rock Galactic, Ready or Not, so I trust his judgment by now. And I'm glad to tell you guys that he has exceeded my expectations once again. Oh yeah, before people start telling me about Factorio in the comments, I am well aware of the game, but I'm scared of it. When I see reviews with 7,000 hours saying that this game is dangerous, and YouTube videos saying that this game is akin to software engineering, I look at that and cower in fear. I'll eventually get around to playing the game, and it'll probably become another one of my obsessions, but for the time being, I'm playing Satisfactory and I'm talking about it. You are a pioneer who works for the company Fix-It. You're tasked with going to an alien planet and harvesting the resources on it. You do this by making factories and sending up the goods you've produced on a space elevator. Doing this will unlock you different tiers, which give you more advanced technology and general quality of life stuff. This game's pretty interesting, mainly because it borders on being a chore. If I went up to an ordinary person and told them about this game and explained the main premise of it, they'd probably ask if I'd be open to washing their dishes or mowing their lawn. But no, there are differences between these two, even if it's not immediately apparent. The difference is I'm heavily rewarded for my tasks in Satisfactory. When I chop wood, all I'm getting out of it is a completed job. When I look at the stack of firewood in my shed, I think, well, that's done. I wonder what shitty early access game my friend wants me to download now. No, Sebastian, I'm not playing Bling Bling Bankruptcy, even though I did help you hit this ginormous clip. It's bottom left. Bottom left safe.
Oh, you swear?
Yeah, I swear. I told you. The act of completing a milestone and being rewarded with new toys to play with taps into a pretty simple part of our brain, but it is very satisfying.
Say that again?
Despite this, fun rewards aren't able to keep me and thousands of other people on the hook, which is where the main point of the game comes in, the factory building. Starting up a factory is pretty simple. You get some biofuel running, slap down a miner to collect raw resources, and then place some machinery down to turn those raw resources into manufactured goods. And then you send them up the space elevator to unlock the next phase. Like I said, simple, right? Nope. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You want to know the first thing your AI says to you when you're coming out of the drop pod? Efficiency first. That means those conveyors should stay flowing every second of every hour of every day until the eventual heat death of the universe. If you attempt to be as efficient as possible, you'll find yourself going into an endless spiral of mathematics and overclocking to make sure none of your precious iron goes unsmelted for even 1 millisecond. But then foundries get introduced, nearby resource nodes are starting to get sparse, so you have to use the impure ones, which causes even more number crunching to incorporate them, and your conveyors are starting to resemble a nice bowl of spaghetti, that you start to realize it's not worth all the effort. So you start to let your conveyors clog. You start to care less if your constructors are producing iron plates at 0% efficiency. A lot like an athlete letting themselves go after retirement, you'll slowly watch your factory wither away, becoming a shell of its former self. You start performing slide jumps around your base like it's a CS surf map, waiting for the last of your resources to be sent up the space elevator, only for you to get your next task, and see that it's so much worse than anything you could have ever thought of. You start to realize that your factory's so deformed and fucked up that'd be a nightmare to even attempt to try getting to the next phase. So you make the hard decision to put that abomination of a save file down and promise yourself that you'd be efficient next time. That's pretty much how everyone's first run goes. This game doesn't force you to make your factory efficient. Hell, it doesn't even force you to make a factory. If you're some kind of deranged psychopath, you can handcraft most of the materials in this game. But no one does that, for obvious reasons. But that doesn't explain why people want their factories to be the most efficient as possible. But I think I know the reason why. Everyone wants to make the most neat and efficient factories for one reason and one reason only. It's satisfying. That's really the only reason people need. As I mentioned before, there are different phases of the game. They start off relatively simple, but quickly spiral out of control, making outrageous demands. Like, what the fuck is an adaptive control unit, and why do you want me to produce 100 of them? The saddest part is that the majority of these items aren't used for anything besides getting to the next phase. So essentially, half of your factory is dedicated to making expensive, useless garbage. Hey, at least the visuals are pretty. This game is fucking gorgeous. The colors are vibrant, and the night sky is beautiful, and it makes me disappointed that everything outside in the real world looks dead and ugly and disgusting because it's summer. The beautiful visuals go with the emphasis this game puts on exploration perfectly. The map is massive and it has 4 different starting areas, and if you really don't like the places that you start, you can kinda just go off into the open world and stake your claim like a true pioneer. I usually prefer games to be procedurally generated. I feel it adds a lot of replayability, but I don't think that applies to this game. I think the map being the same every time allows people to improve on their factory and make essential changes without messing up their entire supply line. Picture this, you're playing the game for the very first time. You find a spot that has 3 pure iron veins. Great! But needless to say, your factory isn't the best because you're just starting out, so you restart. You go to the exact same spot. But what's this? Oops! All impure veins. You know how fucking annoying that would be? The fact that the map is the same every time allows people to just do a full restart without having any downside except progression being lost. But hey, at some point it really has to be done, because how many spaghetti conveyors can people really take apart before they just slam their head on their desk at a boredom? Exploration in this game is pretty much necessary to find more resource nodes and for research. This is the MAM. It allows you to research different technologies that can help out with some quality of life stuff or just cool gadgets. This adds a nice incentive to explore in this game, especially the alien tech tree, which allows you to upload raw resources to the cloud. Don't ask me how that works. And whenever you pick up one of the items that you can research, a nice demon voice starts speaking to you.
Your shallow song has no rhythm. The river erodes our temples without prayers and washes away our scripture without deepening.
Very cool. The MAM also has a secondary purpose, which is scanning these hard drives that you can find at crash sites. Doing this will give you an alternate recipe for one of your products. Some of them are pretty damn useful, while others are... well, there's no nice way to say this, abhorrent dog shit. Especially charcoal. Who was the guy who said, you know what's a good idea? We should give an automated resource. A recipe that requires manual input. Ah yes, momentous. Brilliant! Who was the guy who thought of this? And why did everyone else just go along with it? It's not a good idea. Exploration has a few more uses. A big one are these little guys. Anyway, you have to grind them up into a fine pulp in order to use them as batteries. This is pretty much an essential part of the game, especially if you want a completely efficient factory. This is because sometimes machines need to produce stuff faster, which is where our grinded up friends come into play. If you put a battery into one of your machines, you're able to overclock it. This will make your machine output products at up to 250% faster. If you felt bad about killing one slug, well, you're probably gonna have to get used to it, because I ended up having like 125 of these batteries. You really have to have the mindset of Griffith from Berserk, but instead of sacrificing all of your friends to become God, you're sacrificing bugs to appease a company that care more about their suit being damaged than your life. The last thing I want to touch on is the wildlife. The wildlife is vast and beautiful and deserve to be protected. Alright, that's it, you fucks. I hate the wildlife. Everything wants to kill you. These bugs fucking blow themselves up for the sole purpose of messing up your day. Not even the flowers want you to survive. So I believe they all deserve to be killed off by my Xenobasher, a flying piece of rebar, or a fucking explosion. Except these little guys, they can stay. If you're looking for a game that'll get you to lose track of time and to overthink about, I definitely give Satisfactory a shot. I'm only on phase 3, and I have around 50 hours in the game, half of which were from restarts. I'm not the best at planning out, but you know, we don't have to talk about that. I'm probably gonna hit 100 hours in not too long. So maybe if this game has like a shitload more content, I'll make a part 2. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching or even making it this far. And I want to say thank you for 1,000 subs. I didn't think I'd get here, dude. I used to make, okay, a lot of the videos are privated now, but I used to make like really shitty content. It wasn't good. So, and I only got around like 50 subs from that, so I'm like surprised I've gotten here. But anyways, if you want to find me, I'm about to get my driver's permit, so you can find me going like 70 miles towards a group of kids in a school zone. And yeah, that's it. I'm out.